On the Brody File this week, Rick Santorum in the house. Could his new book give clues about another presidential run?
I wanted folks in this election cycle to see that there is a message out there that's a unifying message for the country.
Also, Marco Rubio talking presidential politics. Could he be the guy for the Republican?
I've openly said in the past that it's something I'll consider at the end of this year.
And a Brody File commentary. Is Sarah Palin relevant or just a punchline? Buckle up, everybody. The Brody File, ready for takeoff across the country. We're next. And welcome, everybody, to the Brody File. We're glad you're with us this week. And look, what a great show we have on tap. We begin this week with Rick Santorum. Now, this guy has been on our show so much, I think we should change the name of the show. We should change it to the Santorum File. Take a look at this. This should be our new one. There he is, the Rick Santorum File. Of course, narcissistically, that's never going to happen. So good luck, Rick. You might want to just stick to politics and writing books. Oh, and guess what? He's written another book. This one is called Blue Collar Conservatives, Recommitting to an America That Works. Now, that sure sounds like a blueprint on how Republicans can win back the electorate and the White House. That's a topic we explored with Rick Santorum here this week. Well, the last time we saw Rick Santorum on the campaign trail, he was giving Mitt Romney a run for his money by winning the Iowa caucus and also finishing in second place for the GOP nomination. Now, his message resonated with working Americans looking to recapture America's great manufacturing past. Now, 2 years later, his new book about blue-collar conservatism is laying out a conservative way forward. And this is personal for him because he came from a family of blue-collar conservatives.
I look back at the values that I learned and the people I learned it from. And they were folks who had that rugged ethos. Everybody from my grandfather and my dad. My grandfather was a coal miner and, hard scrabble life. And my basketball coaches, my Little League coaches, they were all either tradesmen or folks, laborers or factory workers. And these were folks committed to their community, loved God, guns, and country, right? And taught you those values of hard work, tough, never quit, work hard, stay in school, get a good education. You don't want to ever have to work in the factory, but you know what? If you end up, if that's where that's what you got a good job, and you take care of your family, and work hard, play hard.
He says blue-collar conservatives are being left behind by both parties.
The Democratic Party is the party of you don't have to work. We're going to provide all sorts of benefits to you whether you work or don't work. We're going to have so you have more free time, and it's all about government taking care of you, and as if society is aligned against you, and so you need all this help. And I think the folks I grew up with and the role models that I had would have rejected that and saying, hey, you just got to tough it out, and that there's opportunities there if you're willing to work.
Now, as for the Republican Party, he says they have work to do as well. Take the minimum wage, for example, where he says it's really hard to argue that you're for the middle-class worker and also be against raising the minimum wage.
It's a realistic understanding that we have to be the party that's pro-growth, but also pro-worker. And that, do we want more jobs and opportunities? Yes, but we want to make sure that workers benefit from the employment too, not just the employer benefiting, and having some minimum wage standards that cover what I've proposed is the historical norm, which is around 5 to 7% of workers. Right now, only 2% of Americans make the minimum wage.
So is this new book and this way of reaching blue-collar voters a potential presidential path to the White House? This is a theme he's comfortable with.
I've covered you a lot, obviously, in the presidential campaign, and this was the heart of your message. I know you tied it into the Declaration of Independence and everything, but I mean, blue-collar conservatism was the heart of your message. Do you believe, if you were even thinking about running in 2016, which you're thinking about it, but do you feel like there's some unfinished business as it relates to this message?
This was, people would say, oh, Santorum is a social conservative, is on this crusade. I mean, they used to say that, on abortion and contraception. But those of who actually listened to me on the campaign trail realized that the crusade was really for average Americans and trying to connect with people who have been left behind by both parties. Republicans, because all they do is talk to job creators and talk about creating jobs, as opposed to talking about creating jobs and for workers the opportunity to have those jobs and to be able to be successful. So we have to talk to job creators and job holders. And I talked a lot about that during the campaign, talked a lot about what we need to do to reach out to the average American. And yes, do I feel like there's a part of me that is unfinished business? That's why I wrote the book, because I wanted folks in this election cycle to see that there is a message out there that's a unifying message for the country. It's not about Republican and Democrat or conservative. It's about trying to find a message that can actually bring people together. And what I've found on these topics, you find folks even on the other side of the aisle that may not agree with you from a conservative point of view, but see the benefits that it has to average Americans. And so if we can lay out a plausible scenario of how we can do a left-right kind of coalition to get manufacturing jobs, and energy jobs, and construction jobs, and jobs that really put people back to work with their hands, that create a real stable middle America, I think we can probably find some bipartisan coalitions to make that happen.
That's Rick Santorum here on the Brody File. Well, look, speaking of potential GOP candidates, Senator Marco Rubio is not holding back on a whole host of topics. He sat down with ABC's This Week and was asked straightforward, do you think you're ready to be president?
I do. But I think that's true for multiple other people that would want to run. I've openly said in the past that it's something I'll consider at the end of this year, that I'll look at a number of factors, personal factors, but also whether I could best promote this message and actually put in place these ideas that I want to see put in place.
He went on to make one thing clear. It's all or nothing with Rubio. He will either run for president or keep his place in the Senate.
I believe that if you want to be president of the United States, you run for president. It's all or nothing. You don't run for president with some eject button in the cockpit that allows you to go on an exit ramp if it doesn't work out.
An obvious but not so obvious dig at Senator Rand Paul, because he's looking for legislative ways to both keep his Senate seat and run for president. Now, when it comes to Hillary Clinton and her work as Secretary of State, he had this to say.
I don't think she has a passing grade. In fact, if you think she's an F? Yeah, because if you look at the diplomacy that was pursued in her time in the State Department, it has failed everywhere in the world. So here's what I would say. If she is going to run on her record as Secretary of State, she's also going to have to answer for its massive failures.
That is Senator Marco Rubio, sounding an awful lot like a man that's running for president. Now, to another possible GOP presidential contender, it's Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal. He was talking Jesus to graduates at Liberty University this past weekend. He calls himself an evangelical Catholic, and here's how he describes his walk with Jesus. Quote, "A girl I knew invited me to church. Here I was looking for a date, and meanwhile, she was looking to save my soul. I found the gospel message intriguing, but I was skeptical. I'm an analytical sort of person, so I decided I would have to investigate all these fanciful claims. So I started reading this Bible, oftentimes in my closet, as I wasn't sure how my parents would respond. The short story is this: I read the words of Jesus Christ, and I realized that they were true. I used to think that I had found God, but I believe it is more accurate to say that He found me. And it happened because people were brave enough to plant seeds of the gospel in my life. Many years later, when I became a candidate for political office, in one of my first debates, I got the question, what is the single most important moment in your life? Well, I decided to do something new in politics. I told the audience the truth, that the most significant moment of my life was when I turned it over to Jesus Christ and acknowledged Him as my Savior." That is powerful, powerful words from Bobby Jindal. All right, when we continue here on the Brody File, Jenny in the B Block with the story of President Obama giving up control. No, not control of the presidency, but of the internet. The story next.
Millions of Americans with an ostomy live their lives to the fullest every day. And over the last 10 years, thousands have chosen Liberator Medical as their caring and reliable resource for ostomy supplies. Liberator Medical is a nationally accredited Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance provider, so we can handle all your Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance paperwork and billing. And Liberator Medical has been chosen as a preferred supplier by all the leading ostomy manufacturers, including Coloplast, Hollister, Convatec, and Generics. We supply all these leading ostomy brands so you can always get the ostomy supplies and accessories you want and trust. And all of our ostomy care specialists are product certified by the manufacturers. Shipping is free and discreetly delivered right to your door. Unhappy with your present ostomy supplier? Call Liberator Medical and ask about our free ostomy sampling program. We also offer catheters and urological supplies.
Call 1-800-513-3076. That's 1-800-513-3076.
Pat Boone here with some good news you can trust. Today, our faith, families, and our freedoms are under attack. Polls say 2 out of 3 Americans no longer trust government. A stalled economy, weakening dollar, and politicians willing to steal money from our children to waste on unfixable problems. So, whom can you trust? Well, our money still says in God we trust. But do we? Or have we quietly allowed the things we hold sacred to be stolen by the enemies of traditional values? Today, our government spends almost twice its income, running up a tab for future generations into the hundreds of trillions. How can you stop this from happening to your family? Well, it's all covered in a fantastic new book, The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Dr. Lowell Ponte. Every American needs to read this book. Why don't you call now for a free copy of The Great Withdrawal? It's the simple truth you can trust.
And welcome back, everybody. All right, well, look, with big government at it again, this time the Obama administration may be actually giving up power. Well, it really could prove to be detrimental for people all over the world. And to dig deeper into this issue, we had to get a little help from Jenny in the B Block.
You go, girl!
David, you know, the U.S., with or without the help of Al Gore, invented the internet as a military function. Since it's been a commercial entity, the U.S. Department of Commerce has managed internet traffic and assigned website addresses. But now the Obama administration wants to hand over the keys to a multinational organization, a move that many fear will muzzle free speech around the world. America has always had a hand in the managing of the World Wide Web. Even conservatives who typically want to limit the role of government say it's an example of Washington doing something well.
It's a very relaxed control, which is why I think we've seen the internet grow to be an incredible voice of freedom, not just in the United States, but around the world.
In the late 90s, the Commerce Department formed a nonprofit agency called the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or ICANN, which governs the system that assigns website addresses and directs internet traffic. We're talking about every email, every time that you search something on Google. I mean, we're talking about every transaction.
Sure, every transaction.
But following Edward Snowden's revelations about America's spying activities, the Obama administration is feeling international pressure to give away the authority to direct web traffic. Even the head of ICANN says everyone with an interest in the internet deserves a voice in the management of it as equal partners. But the big question is, if the internet isn't in U.S. hands, whose hands do we trust? China and Russia are waiting in the wings to fill the vacuum if the U.S. cedes control. And there's a great fear that the internet will eventually wind up in the hands of a UN committee called the International Telecommunications Union.
It's controlled by bad actors. In fact, they've now passed already a resolution through that will allow governments to shut off websites, and that won't be a violation of human rights.
Congress is considering 2 actions. One delays the transfer of control. Another requires congressional approval before the Obama administration can act. And there's bipartisan concern. Even former President Bill Clinton thinks the administration's plans are a bad idea.
A lot of people who've been trying to take this authority away from the United States wanted to do it for the sole purpose of cracking down on internet freedom. and limiting it and having governments protect their backsides instead of empower their people.
Americans are also concerned. Nearly 120,000 people have signed this petition to keep the control of the internet in the land of the free. For the Brody File, I'm Jennifer Wishon.
Thanks, Jenny. All right, coming next, when it comes to the big Bible blockbusters, does biblical accuracy really matter to viewers? More on the Brody File next.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
And welcome back to the Brody File. All right, well, look, you may have heard the big debate over the movie Noah. Should you see it? Should you stay home? Well, a lot of Christians are upset that the movie doesn't actually follow the true story of Noah in the Bible. Bible Gateway conducted a poll this week when Noah hit theaters. They found out that 60% of people actually do want Hollywood adaptations to stick closely to the scriptures. Another 28% said Bible stories are a good fit for the big screen, and it's okay for them to take some artistic license. And just 10% said Bible stories really need to be kept off the big screen. All right, when we come back, a spoof of Vladimir Putin between Sarah Palin and late night host Jimmy Fallon. What's that all about? That story next.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
And welcome back. So we're mixing the latest in political news and pop culture. Amber Strong back with another edition of Poplitical.
This week on Poplitical, we're talking selfies. Selfies, that all-important picture you just have to get. No matter the time or the place. We've even gone as far as turning famous pictures into, you guessed it, selfies. And everyone's getting in on the action lately, even our politicians. So, we here at Poplitical had to pop the question, if you could take a picture with any politician, who would it be and why?
Abraham Lincoln, right?
Abraham Lincoln, okay. Why?
Because he was revolutionary and pretty much changed America.
That's a tough question. I would probably have to say Abraham Lincoln because of everything that he stood for and what he did for our country historically, you know?
Abraham Lincoln is a popular, so you did very well.
Did I get the answer right?
That's a good answer.
Right.
I would probably take a selfie with Jawaharlal Nehru. He was the first Prime Minister of India when we got independence, but only because I want to ask him a question. Why was he so political that he had to divide India into India and Pakistan? Yeah, that's it.
Bill Clinton.
William Jefferson Clinton, why?
because he's a Georgetown grad. I went to Georgetown. I think it's a pretty cool connection. Nice to chat with him, talk about his experiences. He's also still pretty powerful today out of the office.
I like it. You know, he took a selfie with Jimmy Kimmel last week.
Yes, him and Hillary and Chelsea, yeah, in response to the Oscar selfie with Ellen.
Yeah, see, you're up on your pop culture and your politics.
Thank you very much.
You should host this show.
I don't want to take you out of a job, so.
So tweet me your answers at Amber C. Strong. All right, so it's the ultimate combination of politics and pop culture. Former presidential contender Rick Santorum is making movies. That's right, he is the CEO of Echo Light Studios. Take a look.
Well, we've done 2 productions since I've been CEO. One is The Christmas Candle, which was a beautiful film that came out at Christmas time, and we're really excited about it releasing to DVD and TV for this next Christmas, and there are lots of interest. You know, we had a limited release, so a lot of people wanted to see the film, couldn't see it. Now they're going to get their opportunity, and so we're excited about that. And then we have a movie on the Hallmark Movie Channel called The Redemption of Henry Myers, which is really Hallmark's sort of stepping out a little bit and doing something that's really straight down the line as sort of a faith story.
You're dead man, Myers!
How long have I been here?
3 days. You were pretty near death when we found you. God must have something planned for you.
Now, if we could only figure out how to get Santorum to cast me in his next movie, or take a selfie with me, either one would work. Be sure to pick up your copy of his latest film, The Redemption of Henry Myers, in stores on June 10th. That's it for this week's Political. David, back to you.
And thanks, Amber. By the way, that David Ortiz, President Obama's selfie, turned out to be part of a promotional campaign for Samsung that the president had no clue about, prompting the White House to say, perhaps maybe this will be the end of all selfies. All right, speaking of walking the line of politics and pop culture, it seems these days that no political career is complete without a stop by the late-night TV talk shows. Well, Sarah Palin is no stranger to the late-night couches, but we want you to check this out. This is a spoof of Vladimir Putin and Palin. Well, it's actually not Putin, it's late-night host Jimmy Fallon.
Right after he talked to Obama, Putin made another phone call, this time to someone who actually predicted his invasion of Ukraine back in 2008.
Hey, this is Sarah.
Hello, Miss Palin. It's me, Vladimir.
What are you doing calling me?
Well, I heard that back in 2008 you predicted that I would invade Ukraine. Is this true?
You betcha, Vlad.
You betcha, Vlad. I once invaded a country called You Betcha, Vlad.
My advice to you would be, you get those troops out of Ukraine right now.
Whoa, hey, Captain Buzzkill. It was a joke. But seriously, I could have used your predicting powers in Office March Madness pool. My bracket's totally busted. How's your bracket doing?
Oh, thanks for asking. Bracket's good. You know, he's going to be 6 this month.
Sarah Palin poking fun at herself. She really has a knack for those type of comedy bits. You know, maybe she's found her calling. Anyhow, this all leads us to this week's Brody File commentary. All right, look, here's a straight-up question for you. Is Sarah Palin relevant? The answer is a bit complicated. Is she taken seriously as a politician by the mainstream media? No. But do they still pay attention to her every move? You betcha. So why is that exactly? Well, yes, part of it has to do with the fact that there is a certain carnival atmosphere surrounding how she goes about her business. As you can see, she's playing the flute there. I mean, she knows how to command an audience and entertain, but let's not forget for a moment that she still has a robust, dedicated following. And I'm not just talking about her millions of followers on Facebook and Twitter. I'm talking about how in certain congressional districts in the country, her word matters. Because an endorsement from Sarah Palin can make a difference for a candidate in a tight race. Also, let's be totally truthful here. As much as the mainstream media can't stand her, they listen to what she has to say. She has a megaphone. Liberals might call that a bit scary, but Palin has the power really to help shape the political conversation in America. And that's the dirty little secret liberals would rather not hear, but it is the truth. All right, when we come back, the oy vey moment of the week, a moment frozen in time.
Do you have an idea for an invention or a new product? Brian and Alice Jagosh, the inventors of the halftime drill driver, did. They invented a power drill attachment that lets you drill, flip, and drive in seconds. Brian and Alice licensed their invention to the company that brought you the Snuggie, and it's now selling in major retailers nationwide. Look for the Invent Help Caveman on the package. If you have an invention that you would like to try to patent and submit to companies for possible review and want free information on how Invent Help may be able to assist you, call now. Invent Help is America's largest inventor service company with sales offices in more than 60 cities nationwide. Call Invent Help today for free information. Our clients made a financial gain with their invention, but this is just their individual result. Brian and Alice's experience is not typical, as only a very small number of inventions are licensed or sold in stores.
For your free inventors information, call 1-800-559-8567. That's 1-800-559-8567.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
And welcome back. Well, look, we love games here on the Brody File. So riddle me this, Batman. What do a political campaign, a name change, and a Disney princess have in common? The answer is in our Oy Vey moment of the week. Well, a campaign season can bring out the creative genius in many of our politicians, and if you want to get a point across to attract the masses, you have got to use something popular. Well, look, there's nothing more popular than Disney. I mean, right? You see where I'm going with this? Because I want you to meet Texas Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst. Now, Dewhurst decided to share the details of his opponent, Dan Patrick's past in a verse. He released a parody of the song Let It Go from the Disney film Frozen. Take a look.
I changed my name to cover my past, to cover my bankruptcy. Now the voters know my secrets. They know I had unpaid tax liens. Danny Go, I can't lie to you anymore. That's my name, Danny Go, and I've got lies to answer for, because Danny don't care.
That's crazy. Sorry, but in the song he talks about Patrick allegedly changing his name to Danny Gobe. Anyhow, to hide a past bankruptcy where he left behind $800,000 in debt. Danny Gobe, let it go. I mean, I can see how that works. I mean, that's great. Great effects there, too. Oy gevolt. That's funny. By the way, Patrick says he changed his name to enter a career in broadcasting, not to hide from his past. And by the way, for your information, David Brody is my real name, so please save yourself the trouble of creating any sort of parody like that. But that's funny. That's it for the Brody File. Until next time, God bless. Have a great week.